Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ask a Muso podcast brought to you by Beach Services. I am online today having a chat with two lovely individuals who I met through our Buskers by the Lake thing up on the coast, and I was interested to find out a little bit more about those two and about their musical journey. So I'll pass over to you, Ali Rowe. Introduce yourselves and give us a bit of a rundown to start us off.
Hello. Okay, well, I'm Alice.
Yes, and I'm Rowan.
Yes, and we decided to combine those names to become Ali Rowe as a duo. And yeah, we are an indie pop folk duo. We've been going since about 2020.
Yeah.
We were a COVID creation, like many musicians out there, I'm sure. And basically what we're doing is we were touring for 2 years. Now we're back down in Victoria, recording and planning to release 2 singles this year. And yeah, basically just hoping, and we're going to grow a bit of a fan base as we go and organically kind of just get more and more in the industry every year. So
That's awesome. That's super exciting. I suppose I got to ask, how did this all come to be? Like the name makes perfect sense, but how did you guys meet and then get together? And was it musically, organically, and then, sort of went from there? Or tell me that sort of story.
Yeah, well, we actually met at a friend's party, and I heard Alice talking about the fact that she wrote songs, and I just barged my way into the conversation.
yeah, I was just talking to someone, and he just came out of nowhere. I was like, "Who the hell's this guy?" And he started talking.
I was like, yeah, cool. You do music? That's awesome. Why don't you play something for me?
Yeah, and he was like pestering me, play something. Luckily, there was a keyboard
and a guitar.
At this house, and we were like, oh, fine. And eventually I kind of did it, and then we became Facebook friends, and then we caught up the week after to do some rehearsals together because we thought it would be cool to do some duetting. And then, we were like, oh, the band is first, music's first, we're going to be platonic.
Yeah, we're going to keep it platonic.
We're not going to be in a relationship.
We're going to be above board, but yeah.
But that lasted like a week, and then we were like, oh, we like each other, so...
Talking to a bunch of people throughout the season, talking about being a band is like being a family, but sometimes depending on where you start, if you start with like a really rock solid musical thing where you're like, I like what you do creatively, I find you interesting, we're on the same page with a lot of things, and then from there you go, I think we're on the same page about a lot of things. Suddenly it's a little bit more, bit more strong rather than going, we're together and we've never actually tried to see what it's like when we're both creative, and if we have different ideas, I'm sure we won't argue, and then that's when the wheels fall off the bus. So I think you've done it in a good way, and it's a very, very cohesive pair, the two of you. So tell me a bit about the actual music itself. What is the stuff you write about?
The way that it traditionally kind of works, I guess, is everything is about an experience that we've had, whether it be a breakup from a previous relationship or
something about our relationship together and how we were.
Yeah, and how we're learning as being a duo. And also a lot of things about doing music full time and pursuing this as a career.
Yeah, and the insecurities that you feel, and the judgments and criticisms that you get from people, because as creatives,
yes,
it's very easy to pull in negativity.
Yeah, especially because when you're performing, your heart's on your sleeve, you're putting stuff out there, and we were finding in the first 2 years, like when we were traveling and playing in front of as whoever, busking out front of IGAs, and you get sometimes people say things to you that really hurt, and especially online when you would promote something on like a community Facebook page and be like, hey, I've got a gig this week, come and have a, listen. And then some, guy would be like, go get a real job. And you're like, dude, what's a real job to you? Like, I found myself constantly needing to defend myself or feel like my choices in life were needing to be constantly protected. And needing to constantly have like a, what's the word? Like
justification.
I have to justify my actions all the time. So a lot of that comes through in our music about like for instance, our debut single, Why Do I Care, which came out back in 21. It's about literally, why do I care? Why should I care? And it's this affirmation about trying to tell yourself to not, to just take it with a grain of salt and not allow it to kind of ruin your time.
Part of the lyrics are, they're wondering, we're listening. Thanks for the advice, but could you say something nice?
Yeah.
Because everyone always, usually jumps to that first.
I guess how it works is like sometimes we're just like we're playing and grinding, like we're touring, we're really kind of pushing ourselves, and then we have a few days or a week rest where we're going, oh man, I feel like crap, and then I usually have to play guitar or piano, and I feel, and it sounds so corny, but I feel the music come in and it channels through me, and then I go to Rowan, I run to Rowan, he might be like fixing something.
That's fallen off the caravan.
And I run out to him and I'm like, hey, I've just come up with a song and I need you to do the lyrics. And then Rowan will come in and I'll tell him what the intention is of the song. And then he'll be able to give it the words it needs for it to become what it is. And then, so that's how we work together as well when we're manifesting songs. So
is that always your creative process where... you've got, much like the Hugh Grant film, you've got music and lyrics. Like, is that predominantly how you do it, except vice versa?
Yeah, pretty much. We love that movie.
Yeah.
But occasionally, I'll write a song which Alice likes, which isn't usual when I do something by myself.
Well, no,
but,
I think you have your strengths.
Yeah, there's one here and there that maybe I've written or Alice has written,
but it's very ad hoc. It's very much like we will just be going for months without writing a song, and then we'll write 3 songs within a month just because the time and our mood and everything around us influencing us will just spark this creative surge. And then we may have another few months of hibernation and then it comes back again. And then sometimes they trickle, like we'll be just kind of one every couple of months, but it's never forced. Like we don't kind of sit down and go, okay, I want to write a song today. It just kind of comes to us. And sometimes we're in really, really non-convenient spots and I'm like twitching because I'm like, there's a song in me now. I
don't want to forget it forever.
Yeah. So we end up recording with our phones, like an audio file, just being like, Dad, this is Peanut, by the way.
Hello, Peanut.
He's our dog. He's listened to all of this.
We used to say that he was a third member of the band, but he actually wants nothing to do with the band.
No, he hates our music.
he's not a roadie. He's a very unwilling roadie.
Yeah. He traveled with us this whole time, and
now that we've settled down, he's just he's loving life.
Basically, we'll record an audio file of us being like in the car going da 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 da, like sort of singing it like that. And then listen to it later and obviously be horrified at how horrible it sounds. But sometimes it comes into something, grows into something that we actually see potential in. So.
Yeah, and sometimes, we come back to, material we wrote like a year ago.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, this was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's try to.
But we just didn't have a vision at that time. So then we revisit old recordings sometimes that we've done.
I do like that that having the catalog, albeit as rough as it may be, in the voice memos and stuff. I really like looking back at that, looking back at old ideas. Like I've taken stuff more recently from ideas back from 2015 and things like that were recorded in a garage or whatever, and just sort of tweak bits and things like that. And I find that super fun. I think that's one of the most exciting things that we have as a resource as creators. We can because music, it's not so much of a trending nature where if you hold on to something for more than like 2 weeks, it's sort of dead now. So if I didn't get a chance to make a video with this thing, it's sort of done now. So my moment's passed. That doesn't really happen. Like you can find that moment. And I was chatting about this with Brook Street the other day and talking about being in the season of a song. Sometimes you float in and out, and sometimes there's a season for the lyrical content, but you don't have something to back it up with yet. Well, maybe there was something that actually could have been the soundtrack to whatever this current mood you're in, or this problem, or this exciting venture that you're in, you can now find a soundtrack from perhaps a little while away, and sort of create something that way.
Yeah, it's really fluid, and there's just no expiration date with music. But also too, it's an interesting thing is like, I'm sure like Brook Street will probably understand too, like, you know, when you're together as a duo, and maybe one of you we've written a song together, and then one of you starts to try to change it too much as the time goes on, and like, and you sometimes you've got to be like, sometimes you've got to say, look, no, like keep it close to what it was when we first wrote it, because you want to keep the what's the word, the authenticity of what you were going through at the time, and of course nothing's ever good enough to an extent, if you're a perfectionist, which unfortunately we are cursed with that to some extent. We're never happy with anything until maybe like years later, and then we're like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. But we are very harsh on ourselves too, which and I think the problem is you sometimes compare yourself to other people's process and music journeys. So sometimes you look at other musicians that have been around a bit longer, or they're much more experienced, or they've got better networks, and you find yourself kind of going, oh, why am I not achieving this? And so we always have to kind of just take it back, not get overwhelmed, and just remember like the simplest of things, which is that we write songs, we enjoy playing, and we just want to see how far we can go with this, and try to keep it, you know, strip it back to why we're doing this, you know?
Yeah.
It's important to always consider comparing yourself to who you were yesterday rather than to who someone else is in this present moment.
For us, it can be pretty bad comparing ourselves to who we were yesterday, but then what you do is you compare yourself to who you were last year, and then you're like, wow, I've done so much. Like we've traveled up and down the coast 3 times, and we've learnt a new instrument, and we're getting much better at engaging the audience.
Yeah.
And like there's all this stuff that takes a fair while to cultivate.
But I think the yesterday thing, like when we do a live performance, and it's easy to go, oh, I didn't do this right, and we didn't play this right, and we still do that, of course, when we're in the car driving back. But we try to make sure, like, to say what was good about what we've done, and try to highlight the good things. Because if you can get in the habit of doing it, even if there's not a lot of good things about it, like if we really fudged a performance, and we sort of came out of that going, oh, what the hell was that all about? Sometimes we can still be like, but that was fun, and hey, that guy that we talked to, he was really cool.
And we always have people coming up to us. Like, we judge ourselves way too harshly, because we always have people coming up to us and saying, how much they enjoyed the performance, or that they enjoyed a particular original that we wrote. And that's huge, because people usually aren't really interested in original music.
And also, I find it's, before I did music, the idea of going up to a performer after a gig is very intimidating and scary. So for people to feel like they weren't intimidated to come up to us afterwards and say a nice comment is really lovely, because you need that. And I know you don't rely on it, but it is nice to know that, you're doing something right.
Especially because they are your personal stories, and essentially someone has reflected upon the engagement of consuming your personal stories to a soundtrack, and has decided that it's in their best interest to let you know that it had a positive impact on them. And I think that goes into one thing I wanted to ask you, which how do you guys stay motivated? And I suppose that definitely contributes. But what do you guys do? Because being a couple as well as a duo, what do you guys do to stay motivated, and also sort of separate, maybe having break time, and also the valuable nature of the debrief, the car debrief? Aaron and I have it. Whilst Aaron may be taking photos and videos, and I may be the one playing drums, we always have a debrief in the car on the way home. And I suppose that for us is important. It helps me stay motivated and find those good parts. But how do you guys stay motivated as a couple and a duo?
Well, I think that there's a lot of ingredients to it. One of which is that we've both come from backgrounds where we have had a lot of different jobs or, worked in a lot of different industries and never found something that we could latch onto and really love. And I think what happened was, as soon as we found music, it became an addiction that we just realized we woke up and sort of thought, you know what, I can't see myself doing anything else now. And I just love the potential of where this will go and where this will lead to us, and the people we've met since we've decided to do this has just been incredible.
Yeah, and for me, part of it has been, I've often struggled with communicating with people and finding mutual connection with others, and for the music, that's always been what it's been about for me. Is that if I can sing this song and someone else can hear it and appreciate it and associate with it, then that's massive, because it means that we've made a connection in a way that is really meaningful.
Yeah, and I think from a motivating point of view, like for the everyday, I usually have a little bit of routine. So I try to, when I'm doing either like exercises in the morning or we're sitting down and having our morning coffee, we do a debrief reflection of certain parts of our career building. So we'll just usually reflect on whether we're happy with our set lists and our songs that we're currently performing. We'll reflect on any other further stuff that needs to be actioned for single releases and or what visuals we might like. And we do a lot of brainstorming in the morning with our coffee. And just basically by being communicative and brainstorming ideas and keeping everything kind of planned but not super strict plans, like everything's a bit of a loose plan with goals in mind that we reflect on regularly. It allows us to kind of stay motivated because we're keeping the conversation going.
Yeah, and making sure that we don't push each other too hard either.
Yeah.
Because, it's, the problem with doing what you love as a career, or at least trying to, is that if you push yourself too hard, then you lose love for it and you burn out.
Yeah, which we did. We did burn out a little bit when we came back down to Victoria to stay permanently for the next year. We found we had pushed ourselves too much because we tried doing too much. Like, obviously we were doing live performances and touring that whole time, but we were also pressured to feel like we had to adhere to a certain look and adhere to a certain amount of posts, and we were becoming a bit of a slave to social media and we couldn't keep up with it. And then eventually when we got back down, we were just like, we have to just break away from that and reassess and plan for our future in a healthy way, because we were getting too obsessed. Because I'm an impatient person. I'm really impatient.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm like doing something and we're not seeing a result straight away, I can get really frustrated. I'm like, oh, what? We didn't get into this festival. Where? And I'll like whinge. But then I'm like, dude, I have to remember, we've only been doing this for a couple of years, and there are people out there that, you have to do this industry for a while. Like, you need to network, you need to...
Yeah, music is all about seeing results way down the track.
Yeah, and also you need to be...
Exactly.
Yeah, you need to be present for a long time. You need to just be around. You need to be, let people know that you are a trustworthy person and trustworthy musicians, and basically just making it known that you are serious about it. Obviously, all the hard work of pitching to every live music venue / restaurant / cafe / shopping centre when we were touring, just the opportunity for us to play wherever we could opened up things. And the more that we pushed, or the more that we basically would, ask for somewhere to play, it would then open a door up where eventually, in a few months afterwards, then there would be someone coming to us for a change rather than me having to follow it up and me having to chase. So that's, to me, has been a big thing that's motivated us as well, is that not only now are we doing all of the work, but we are actually getting people coming out and saying, hey, I'd like to talk to you on the, Triple M radio, wants to talk to us this week, or ABC kept saying, wants to talk to us this week. And to a lot of people that may seem small, but to us, I'm like, I didn't have to message them. They messaged us.
Yeah, and we did the Longwood Beer and Wine Festival the other week, and they messaged us, like they came out of the blue and
they saw us on Facebook and they were like, hey, we like your stuff. Do you want to be in our festival? And I was like, holy moly, like to us, that's a big thing to be asked. And so the way that we are staying motivated is we keep the conversation going. We repetitively say what's been happening that's good and noticing more things. But then, of course, the break aspect to it is that I tried to implement a rule where it was like, this is 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So after 5 p.m., let's try not to talk about music, right? But the thing is, it's hard because, you'll be doing emails with people at all times of the night. But we tried to say, okay, well, let's try to do like a date night once a week where we just go out without the dog and we just try to be a couple and talk about things that aren't...
A couple of things.
And that aren't relevant to music,
it's hard for us to escape that because it is all that we want to do.
Yeah. But now we have a base. We actually can work separately and be away from each other to allow ourselves to kind of just have time to chill. And things like, doing walks and fishing. That's something we took up as a pastime to help relax, because all you do is you throw the line out and you just stare and you don't feel the need to talk. You can just veg out.
I'm the same where I do need to have like a task. So even if it's something like, okay, so we're going to do fishing and a lot of it's going to involve sitting, that's fine because it's a task. Like same as reading. Reading's relaxing, but it's still a thing. Just to say, just sit there and just cruise. That can be a little open-ended for me. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, cruise, but this is wasteful. Can't I do something? And I love that you see that very similarly because I absolutely relate to that. You mentioned the talk with the ABC and things like this. I noticed that recently you had the Port Fairy Buskers competition, which you did super well in, and all these sorts of things popping up for you. What would have to be your most memorable experience since you've been in the industry?
Ooh, well, do you want to go first or should I?
Well, why don't you go first and then that'll give me time to formulate my answer and make it seem more impressive.
Okay, yeah, because Rowan likes to have the better answers. Most memorable would probably be when we were up north. We were in Queensland. We were living out of a rooftop tent with the Mazda 6 station wagon, busking wherever we could. And I saw a sign for a folk festival in the Tablelands, and we had no idea. It was in a couple of weeks. We thought, they probably already got all their artists. So we just emailed them because there had been a border closure. So no one from New South Wales or, from other states could get into Queensland. And I thought maybe we could get a spot to replace someone that may not have been able to get over the border. So there was just kind of this potential there. So, I emailed the folk festival and they actually said yes. They gave us this prime time spot, which was really scary because we were very inexperienced. And but that was probably the most memorable thing because we went to this folk festival and we were just blown away by the people that the administrators that like ran the festival, the organizers, the artists that we met. We met some of our friends that we still stay in touch with. We met through that. It inspired us to implement the banjo into our music. And
it's just been like a massive...
Yeah, and we wrote...
A massive thing. And it's actually annoying. It's come to the point where it's annoying because, as soon as we get the banjo out, suddenly everyone's interested.
Yes. But anyway, right. The big thing with that too is we entered a songwriting competition because we didn't have anything really recorded or anything professional. There was a songwriting competition as part of the festival and we entered bare feet and we won. And the people we were competing against were, pretty established musicians in the North. And, we were kind of really shocked at the embracing nature of our music and people really related to it. And then that Bare Feet song is the single we're releasing in April. And it's finally come to fruition. So to me, yeah, the Tablelands Folk Festival back in 2021 was like one of the most memorable because it was the thing that really established and reaffirmed our love and the potential of how far this will go. So that's mine.
Well, that was also mine.
Yeah, shock horror. We knew that. I think everyone playing at home knew that that was going to be yours as well.
Yeah.
So I've had to think of a different one. I was like, oh, geez. So probably for me, secondary to that, it would have been the Longwood Beer and Wine Festival, which I was talking about before.
Yeah.
Because, we went up there and we played our music and, by the end of it, we had, a huge group of people, up and dancing.
Buy us and shout us drinks.
Yeah, trying to shout us drinks, being, thinking we were really cool. And
it's nice to think we are cool.
It's nice to feel like people think we're cool because usually we think we're pretty
dorky.
Pretty dorky, yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool.
And yeah, then we talked to some of the artists, and they were so grounded and so friendly.
Yeah, Seamus McCory and The Settlement were the bands that were on after us, and they were so cool.
Oh, they were amazing.
So that was really nice. But yeah, that was great. And it only was for one day, and we were on at like 5 o'clock or something in the afternoon. So got a lot of lovely young families as well as like young guys that were like out partying and. It was just, and it was great weather. Like it just was one of those really beautiful moments where we felt like, yay, we're actually getting better.
Yeah, and there's something really special about once you actually get people moving, and especially when they're dancing to a song that you wrote yourself.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's something really cool about that I love, because then all of a sudden you're feeling their energy and you're putting on more performance and like head banging while playing the banjo.
Since Rowan's grown his hair out longer, he does like his head flicks on the stage, and he gets really into it, and it's fantastic because it helps. Makes the experience more enjoyable when we feel like we're people are enjoying it, and that makes us more inclined to want to perform and entertain and make sure that people feel welcome. So yeah, it's a big deal.
Absolutely, and it all links together. And when you're having a good time, it's very hard for someone in the front to not share that with you and to have that good time as well. So to wrap up, let everyone know where they can find you, where they can see you do your thing and feel entertained. Show us the handles.
So we've got a lovely website that we have been developing. So www.allyrow.com.au is it's got all of our info. We use a facilitator called Bands in Town, which showcases all of our upcoming shows. We've got lots of shows through the Gippsland area in the next couple of months. And yes, of course, if any of you guys wanted to give us a follow on Spotify and all those streaming services and our socials, because of our new release coming the 27th of April called Bare Feet.
Give it a pre-save.
We've got the pre-save link on our... via Campsite, on our Instagram and Facebook and all that jazz, and we're really excited about this one because this one it's a banger, that's what we think, and we really hope that people understand it, because the premise of this song is it's about when you choose to take a risk and do something you love. It's we believe in you and keep going. Because even though, if we see it as walking down a dark path without shoes on, you may get some cuts and bruises on your feet along the way, but it's worth it. So that song, Bare Feet, is hopefully people can resonate that in lots of different ways and pathways in their life. So, so do that, give us a follow, and because it all helps go towards if we're applying for festivals. And
yeah, people want to know that you're popular, not they don't really care if you're good. Just popular,
Popularity. Well, it can help to have, to grow our fan base.
Awesome. Well, I'm not going to touch what Rowan said too tightly because I agree very much on that front, and that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But I appreciate you having a chat with me today, guys. It's been awesome, and it's been enjoyable for me to learn a little bit more about you guys since Mickey and I lent you a guitar at Buskers by the Lake, what seems like a million years ago now. It's been awesome to see you guys grow and do your thing and be doing your thing down south as well. So congratulations on what you've done, and best of luck for what you got going on in the very near future.
Thank you. And
Thank
thanks
you so
for
much
having us.
We've had a great
We
time.
really, really love your podcast, and I love the way that you talk to musicians. I think it's very nice, it's very organic, and we're very much looking forward to possibly seeing you again in the future next time we're up.
Well, that's another episode of the Asking Muso podcast. These two lovely individuals, you'd be silly not to follow them and find out more about what they're doing, because there's lots of exciting things for them with music and singles and the like. So if you're in the Gippsland area, make sure you listen to Ali Rowe, strum a banjo, and have a good time. So the usual situation: YouTube 9 a.m. Chuck a follow, chuck a subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you later.